Jonathan, we have got Jonathan Trott, Afghanistan people for that first week. Mr. Concept, you guys have that issue.
Yes, please. Good evening. How you look back at your experience? I mean, the best moments you had, and the ones that you think the team could have done better.
Pardon?
The best moments so far of your coaching career with Afghanistan. I mean, the best moments you had with them. I mean, areas you feel the team needs to improve going forward.
Quite a big question. First up, lots of great memories. I always feel very fortunate enough to have had a lot of memories as a player, but also now as a coach as well. So, I think even at this ground, beating Pakistan, I think the first time in the World Cup, 50 over game, beating England, 2 games in St. Vincent. That's World Cup stuff, but there's been lots of other things we've achieved. Bilateral series, first where we've beaten Pakistan, Bangladesh away, South Africa, all these sorts of things. So I'm very fortunate enough to have coached some really great players, some really good humans, a good bunch of guys, and areas to improve, I think, everywhere. We saw a little bit of that today, maybe seam bowling, the consistency, and develop some more seamers that'll aid the spinners and not just be heavily reliant on spinners. To develop some seam bowlers so that when the team plays in conditions perhaps like the World Cup in 27, they'll be able to handle all different varieties of conditions. They're developing the batting resources to be able to have that, and it's about having the seamers now so they can compete all around the world, hopefully.
Jonathan, well done, a good tenure. Just where do you see this team? You just spoke about developing a fast bowling core and having a good army of spinners and stuff. But in the batting front, do you think Afghanistan still has lot to improvise on in the batting front, especially particularly in the T20? And also, what has prompted you to end it after this T20 World Cup?
Say that again, sorry.
No, what made you to end your tenure after this T20 World Cup? Would you prefer to carry on till the 2027 World Cup as well?
I think just go on to the batting part. I think with the side, certainly in T20, we're seeing new players come in, and we're developing a top order. I certainly don't think we got 180 against New Zealand. Nearly chased 187 or 88. I think it was against South Africa, 160, and we got 200 today. So I don't think there's too much wrong with the batting. Okay, but I'm talking about the depth in having different players, maybe another left-hander some way so we can have left-right-hand combinations. Those little things that the top teams have the options of. That's all. But we got such young, great players coming through, and it's exciting, and hopefully players get experience around the world in different leagues, and can add that to the 50 over team as well. And with continuing, that is not my decision. So that's all I'll leave it at, really. So maybe the time's right, maybe it's not. I don't know, but I wish everyone the best in the future, and I'm very thankful for getting the opportunity, and I got the opportunity by chance, really. Graham Thorpe was supposed to be the coach, and he unfortunately couldn't take up the role. I then got offered the job and took it with both hands. But at the same time, Graham was huge in my development as a coach, and he gave me great opportunities at the ECB, and had full faith and belief in me as a coach. So I have a lot to be thankful for him for this role. And so I'm here by chance. I gave it my all. I hope the players can see the love that I have for the game and the care that I have for them as players and as people. But not only that, the great joy for me in this job is being able to see the players develop off the field as well, and lives change, not just on the field, but the ability for players to change their families' fortunes and trajectory as a family and as a group of people. So I think through this game we've been able to see that, and to be able to play a small part in that is very satisfying. Forget the cricket side, seeing guys, equipping themselves and developing as young boys when I took over and developing into young men is something that is, very worthwhile.
Was it sort of very emotional over the last few days or through the course of the tournament for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've caught myself at times where I just think we've been a little bit unlucky. At times, I think obviously we'd love a centimetre or two against South Africa to get across the line, and who knows how South Africa would have played the next game against New Zealand, if we had won that game in normal time and not extra time as well, if we'd won it in extra time or the super over. And everything could be a lot different. And I thought New Zealand, we gave a good count of ourselves, and if we'd sort of ball here or there, and it could have been a very different. We had a great start. We had them 14 or 16 for 2 after Mujib's first over, and it could have been a very different game. So we've played some very good cricket, and we played good cricket against the West Indies in a series before and beat them. I'm very thankful for the opportunity, and that's all I have to really say on that. Yeah.
John here, well done on your tenure with Afghanistan again. Just wanted to, I feel personally, since when you joined 2022, Afghanistan was a team of individuals, and then from there now it has become to click as a group. I want to understand what has been your role, and specifically how have you worked to get that together to make the team click as a unit?
Well, I just think, and I could sit here and tell you so many stories of things that I've seen with my own eyes, but in the talent, I said I didn't want to get upset. I just remember my first trip when we were in Ireland, and I just saw things that just realized that these boys are so talented and focused. And if you could just add a little bit of structure to the mindset, professionalism, and the high standards that we hold ourselves to, not individuals, but we hold each other to those high standards and professionalism. I remember seeing Ibra for the first time. I remember seeing Azmat for the first time. I remember seeing Gurbaz for the first time and thinking, what amazing players. Let's try and build on what we've got, this natural raw talent. Cool, thanks. And let's see where we can get to. We had the names, Mujib, Nabi, Rashid, all these guys. But it's one of those things. And I remember how chaotic that first tour is to where we are now is chalk and cheese. And the players, need so much credit because the level they operate at, and the advantages and the things that they're afforded as youngsters to develop their skills and their passion for the game, they operate at such a high level compared to what they're afforded compared to other countries. But yet they can come on this stage and compete, and almost people expect us to be in the semi-finals and finals, which I find it amazing that they can do that, handle the pressure, but also the background, and they don't have the sort of the day-to-day coaching that young players have, academies and facilities and all these things and schooling, and so for me, I look at these guys now going out to, and I was thinking today, and I'll be honest, I was sitting there now, and some of these, and unfortunately, education-wise, if I hadn't have gone to schooling and hadn't gone to all the academies, hadn't gone to all the coaching sessions and had the upbringing that I was afforded, I'm not sure I'd be able to stand on that field in front of 20,000 people and understand and be able to know exactly how I felt and how I'd execute things. The amount of coaching I've had compared to the coaching that these guys are now operating at international levels is chalk and cheese. So, I take my hat off to every single one of them, and so for me, it's the level they operate will always amaze me, and from watching from afar, I'll always, be very fond and want the guys to do well.
You take an average cricketer in India, yes, right, go from under 14 level, under 19, and then play for Ranji Trophy, then India A, and then finally India. Many of them from under 19 don't get to play for India at all. So Afghanistan, without a structure there, they're producing continuous chain of talent. How do you judge talent? And how is the thing there? How is the process there?
Well, you see, you can see with that they, you think you see you've got all the attributes, you know, the natural gift of timing and technique, or with bowling, you can see we've got 2 young fast bowlers today who've got raw talent, raw pace, and just if they were given a little bit more coaching, could probably be even quicker, given the right diet, exercise, training. And if that had been afforded to them from the age of 15, 14, and the education around that, you know, who knows, you know, where the players will end up hopefully one day, and hopefully the players do that, and the players will get that as a, you know, as cricket develops, you know, in the country. So I think it's amazing, and I've had such great laughs, and at times there's been frustrations, of course, but I've had such fun times, and I look back with great memories, and been really proud of what we've been able to achieve. I just, the back of my mind is we've just been so close in a few things. I just wish we'd got across the line. You know, I think back to the Wankiti Stadium against Australia, 50 over game, you know, that game, and a few other things in Asia Cup matches, and obviously here against South Africa at Ahmedabad. You know, things have been very different, but I've been very fortunate enough to, with the players, to have had some great highs, and we've got some great memories. So hopefully the players can keep adding to those for themselves.
Jonathan, what was the biggest challenge of coaching a side who can't even play at home, and a bunch of guys from tough background who are detached from their country? They don't spend much time in Afghanistan.
Well, I think my job as coach is to show them that I care and have that empathy. I think it's such a big thing, and nothing is straightforward, and have an understanding. I think have levels and standards as a side, but also understand the person and the background that the players come from. You know, and for me, it's been such a great education as a coach with regards to understanding different characters and those sorts of, you know, those sorts of sort of nuances of coaching, and you know, I think will always stick with me. So I'm very fortunate for that chance. But I think the guys are so resilient. I think, you know, they all have different stories, very different stories, where they come from. And I think they, you know, being able to come and play for Afghanistan is a huge honor for them. And so it's not really that hard to get them motivated, get them, you know, understanding tactics and understanding the game and doing the basics day in, day out, which is very, sometimes for some players is very foreign because of the structure that they've come from. So to try and add this to, you know, these things to players is not as straightforward as perhaps for some other players that you would coach around the world. So that's been the great challenge, and but also the great thing that when you see it start developing, you see guys have success. You know, as a coach, that's the most rewarding thing. It's not about how much money you earn or that sort of thing. When you see players developing and creating a career for themselves, that's the most rewarding thing as a career coach you can get, and that's, you know, why you coach. You know, there've been so many times I've left net sessions or training sessions and thought I really enjoyed that because I was able to coach and the players wanted to be coached. I don't think that happens everywhere around the world at the moment, where players want to be coached every day. So as a coach, you know, that's a great feeling, and to be able to play a small role in those players' development is a great feeling and a privilege.
We've seen probably the just to pick up on that, almost like there's been a little bit more personality shown in the Afghan group under your tenure, the Gulbadine cramp, being in the sheds after that 2023 Cricket World Cup win against England. Has it felt like, because you guys are performing at a higher level and you're more comfortable, it's brought out that personality, or has it been something that you've tried to encourage to kind of express themselves and to, you know, kind of show their individuality to the world?
No, what I think is there's two folds to that, and that I think they've always had that character, but always maybe sometimes felt they don't belong at the party. And that's the one thing I've always said to them. Whenever you come up against opposition, you look him in the eye and you take him on straight away. You know, whether it's here at the ground, whether it's at the hotel, whether it's wherever, you know, you stand up. You don't ever, you know, if you're in the lift with one of them in the hotel, you know, you don't ever think, oh, they're from a major test playing nation, we're inferior. You know, no, we take them on. And I think the players have enjoyed that sort of, someone encourage them to be confident in themselves. And also, you know, believing in them, having constantly saying, no, well, you are good enough to win every single game that you go up, no matter the conditions, you're good enough to win. The other side of that, I'd say, is what we're seeing now is the players balancing that expectations. Though that's been in the last year or so, you've perhaps seen where you're not always underdogs, you're expected to win, and that's a different mindset when you're expected to perform, when you're expected to win and finish games. That's the next step for this lot, and we're starting to see those things happen. After the South Africa defeat, you very easily could have folded against the UAE on a tricky pitch at Delhi, and we got across the line there. And I've often said to the players, it's not being able to win route one, it's being able to win different kinds of ways, or win ugly. And that was a sort of ugly-ish win, if you like. It could have been a bit more straightforward, but we found a way to win. And that's, when the sides can do that, they become dangerous. So that's the next steps, I believe, for this group, and being able to win different conditions, and not just being able to bat first, put 200 on the board, and throw the ball to the spinners. So, which has been how it's probably been in the past.
Last question.
Hello, coach. Congrats on
Thank
your
you.
time with Afghanistan. So, what next in your coaching career? Is there a job that you would probably want to do sometime in the future? Say England.
Pardon?
What next in your coaching career?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth, but I've really enjoyed this, and it's I don't know what the future holds. I maybe have a couple of days off and see how it goes, and I look forward to seeing how the rest of the World Cup goes. I wish we were still here and able to play in the next round. But yeah, I very proud of where I played my cricket, and always like to see the England side do well. I would be lying. I'd love to, one day hopefully have the opportunity to coach, a team that you hold so dear to your heart. But there are a lot of people that I'm sure would love to do that job. So yeah, we'll have to see. But I just want to be, enjoying my coaching, and I've certainly enjoyed the last couple of years here. Or, my tenure here has been ups and downs, but I have some great memories.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.